to one and all present there. How are you all? I hope you all are fit, fine, and healthy. We are back with English subject for class 6th, and today we will start a new lesson. You might be surprised that after we have completed your unit number 4, now we will begin with our unit number 5, that is a brush with art. Correct? So we will skip section number 1. We will study the section number 1 later, and we will begin with the section number 2, quality, written by John Galsworthy. So section 1 is not being cancelled, but we will study that later. This lesson is basically selected before section number 1 because in this Diwali vacation, yeah, the festival of Diwali, you might have shopped new shoes, new outfits, and everything. So this story that names quality. So this story dictates that how the skilled labor and how the shoemaker who works with the same skill and pride in his trade as any other artist. Okay, this is a story of a shoemaker. So let us not waste much of our time and begin with our story. Okay, this is unit number 5, section 2, quality. Okay, read about a shoemaker who works with the same skill and pride in his trade as any other artist. So, so what is a quality? We all have different qualities, correct? So the quality means we have the quantity in which we can count with numbers, and a quality means a state, a skill that a particular person has. Okay, that is a quality. So let us begin with our lesson. I knew him from the days of my extreme youth because he made my father's boots. He lived with his elder brother in his shop, which was in a small by street in a fashionable part of London. Okay, so who says this? Author says that I knew him from the days of my extreme youth. Okay, this particular person who wanted to buy shoes, so he says that he want to have a good pair of shoes, a fine quality one, and he went to a shoemaker who stitches the shoes, who makes the shoes. So he knew the shoemaker since the days of his extreme youth because he made my father's boots, because he knew him from his extreme youth days, because this shoemaker used to make his father's boots also. He lived with his elder brother in his shop, which was in a small by street in a fashionable part of London. So now this shoemaker, he lived with his elder brother in his shop, and this shop was located in a small by street in a fashionable part of London. The shop had a certain quite distinction. Now this shop was different from other shoe shops. There was no sign upon it other than the name of Jessler Brothers. What is the different distinct feature this shop had? That this shop, you can see in the picture that it was named Jessler Brothers. Mustafa, you can see the Jessler brothers, only the title was there, but there was no sign upon it. Okay, there was no sign upon it, the best shoemaker, the best shoe shop in the town, or Jessler brothers, the shoe shop. There was no sign upon it other than the Jessler brothers. And in the window, a few pairs of boots. And if you will open up page number 115, you will see the picture. This is your picture. Okay, you can see the Jessler brother, the signboard, and in the left side there is a window in which you can show that he displayed the boots. Correct, that showed that this is a shoe shop, this is a boot shop. He made only what was ordered, and he made never failed to fit. Okay, so what was the speciality that he only made? So the display was the only the ordered stuff was there in the display. He made only the boots which were being ordered, and whatever he made never failed to fit. To make boots, such boots as he made, seemed to me then and still seems to me still seems to me mysterious and wonderful. I remember well my shy remarks one day while stretching out to him my youthful foot. Isn't it awfully hard to do, Mr. Jessler? And his answer, given with a sudden smile from out of the redness of his beard, is it an art? It is an art. Okay, so this is written in a different language. So it is being written, this is an art. You can see it is an art. Okay, this is what it is being written here. It's a Russian language, correct? So he says that this author says that, isn't it hard for you to do, Mr. Jessler? Then he answered that with a sudden smile from out of the redness of his beard, that it is an art to make such fine quality boots. It was not possible to go to him very often. His boots lasted terribly, having something beyond the temporary, some essence of wood stitched into them. And it was not possible to go to him again and again. Why? Because his shoes lasted so long that he did not find any needful reason to buy a new pair of shoes. His shoes were such long lasting and durable. Okay, and having something beyond temporary, it was like used for a certain good years of time. And there was some essence in the boot that was stitched by these Zestler brothers. One went in not as into most shops, but restfully as one enters a church, and sitting on the single wooden chair waited. The guttural sound and the tip tap of his slippers beating the narrow wooden stairs, and he would stand before one without a coat, a little band in leather apron with sleeves turned back, blinking as if awakened from some dream of boots. Okay, so one went in these shops not as just ordinary shops, but as if they are stepping into a church, and sitting on a single wooden chair waited there. So here in this Jessler Brothers shop, there was one wooden chair onto a narrow single wooden chair where these people, the people who want to buy shoes, used to wait there. A guttural sound, a tip tap of his slippers beating the narrow wooden stairs, and he would stand before one without a coat. Okay, so this shows the characteristics of this person, this Jessler, that he is little bent in leather apron, his sleeves turned back, blinking. So, and I would say, how do you do, Mr. Chesler? Could you make me a pair of Russian leather boots? So now this author says that, how do you do, Mr. Chesler? Could you make a pair of Russian leather boots? So this author wanted to buy a pair of Russian leather boots from this Jessler brothers shop, shoe shop. Without a word he would leave me, retiring whence he came, or into the other portion of the shop, and I would continue to rest in the wooden chair, inhaling the essence of his trade. Soon he would come back, holding in his hand a piece of gold brown leather. With eyes fixed on it, he would remark, "What a beautiful piece!" That means, what a beautiful piece. So, here again, they have written like this: What a beautiful peace. Okay, this is what is being written here. What a beautiful peace, right? Okay, now what happened that when this author asked for the pair of Russian leather boots, then without a word he went inside and he came with the he asked him to rest in the wooden chair, inhaling the essence of his trade, and soon he came back with a piece of gold brown leather. And his eyes were fixed on that particular leather, and he said, "What a beautiful piece!" When I too had admired it, he would speak again. "When do you want them?" That means, when do you want the boots? And I would answer, "Oh, as soon as you conveniently can." And he would say, "Tomorrow fortnight." Or if he were his elder brother, "I will ask my brother." So here brother means brother. Okay. If it was his elder brother, he would say, "I will ask my brother, then when I can give the pair of boots to you." Then I would murmur, "Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Tesler." "Good morning," he would reply, still looking at the leather in his hand. So you can see, students, that he was so fond of his work, he was so fond of his trade that he couldn't take off the eyes from his material, that is, that ladder. And as I moved to the door, I would hear the tip tap of his slippers going up the stairs to his dream of boots. So, upstairs, he used to make the boots, and that place is called his dream of boots. I cannot forget that day on which I had occasion to say to him, "Mr. Jessler, that last pair of boots creaked, you know." So he cannot forget one day, one incident had taken place between this author and this Mr. Jessler. He cannot forget that day in which he had said he came to this Jessler shop, brother's shop, and he asked Mr. Jessler that last pair of boots creaked. You know, creak means broken. He looked at me for a time without replying, as if expecting me to withdraw or qualify the statement, then said, it shouldn't have, it shouldn't have creaked." Creak means creaked. Okay. So what happened next? That he looked at him for a while without replying, as if he was expecting this. Mr. Jessler was expecting him to withdraw whatever he said, to take away the words which he had spoken, because this is not kind of boots he makes. He said that it should not have greed. It did, I'm afraid. What did this author said? That pair of boots which was purchased from his shop were creaked. And it did. And he's scared, he's afraid. You got them wet before they found themselves. Means you got them wet before they found themselves. I don't think so. And that he lowered his eyes as if hunting for memory of those boots. And I felt sorry I had mentioned this grave thing. Send them back. Send them back means send them back. Okay? This means send them back. I will look at them. Them means them. Okay? Some boots, he continued slowly. Some boots means some boots. Sorry. Some boots are bad from birth. Birth. If I can do nothing, nothing means nothing. Okay. I take them off your bill. That means you don't need to buy He says that some boots are bad from birth, means the day when they were made, they are bad from that day itself. If he can do nothing about that creak part of the boot, then he will take them off your bill. That means he don't need to buy that shoes from him. Once only I went absent-mindedly into his shop in a pair of boots bought in an emergency at some large firm. He took my order without showing me any leather, and I could feel his eyes penetrating the inferior covering of my foot. At last he said, "Those are not my boots." That means those are not my boots. See, those are not my boots. This is what he had written here, that those are not my boots. So once that, this is the second incident he is talking about. Okay, the second incident, first incident was that he went to him and talked with him that about the creaked shoes, creaked boots, and then he said that if he cannot do anything about them, then he would take off from his bill. And now the second incident, he went absent-mindedly into his shop and asked for an, and he had bought one pair of shoes in emergency at some large firm. So he had bought from another place and he went wearing that shoes. Then that Jessler, Mr. Jessler asked him that these are not my shoes, these are not boots made by me. The tone was not one of anger, not nor of sorrow, not even of contempt, but there was in it something quiet that froze the blood. He put his hand down and pressed a finger on the place where the left boot was not quite comfortable. Okay, so whatever he said was not, he was not angry because he did not buy shoes, boots from his shop, or he was not of sorrow that he was upset with that news, not even of content, was not even complaining, but there was in it something that could quiet the froze, that could quiet that froze the blood. He put his hand down and pressed a finger on it, the place where I found it on the left boot, which was uncomfortable for me to wear. It hurts you there. So I'll write it for you. It, okay, it is written like this. It hurts you there. Those big firms, that means those big firms. Firms means companies. Have no self respect. That means have no self respect. Okay, this is what been written here. Okay, so he says that after pointing it on the place where he was not quite comfortable, he said that it hurts there. Those big firms have no self respect. And then, as if something had given way within him, he spoke long and bitterly. It was the only time I have heard him discuss the conditions and hardships of his trade. So, what was being done with him? He was, he had a cutthroat competition with these big firms who were selling the shoes without the quality. They did not had any skill, they did not had any quality of the leather or the stitching quality, but they used to sell the shoes to the people just because they advertise it. They invites many film actors, film actresses, and advertise their product, and people used to think that their products are very good. and are of very good quality. And these small traders who work very hard, they work day and night, and still their trade, they are being competed um, by these big firms. And he discussed the conditions and hardships means severe suffering of his trade with his author. So this was all about the Jesla brother. We will continue the story regarding these Jesla brothers, and we will understand what was the actual hardships faced by him in his shoemaking trade. I'll continue the story. Um, until that, what you need to do is read the whole story again. Read page number 115 and 116 on your own and understand it, and write down the hard words displayed on your screen that is there in your textbook.